My name is Cindy. I'm your hostess. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, and think about becoming a member of this channel that's authentic, that is one of a kind. And we do appreciate everyone that comes to our channel. We do not take you for granted. Also, I'm going to be joined by my son, the co-host, Elijah. And we're so happy that what God has done and instilled in us, that we're not beholden to any man. We're not for just on the right or the left. We're about what's right. We want righteous leaders, and we want a president and administration to be for all the people. Not talking about radical left or talking about left wing right, but we're one nation under God, and we stand on that. Now, when we voted for Trump in this election, we voted because we respected the man that he was his first term for when he was 45. He did a lot for the black community. And what I used to brag about Trump was that he didn't do to the black community what Biden has done when he did that 1994 crime bill that caused mass incarceration of our black men, fathers, sons, uncles, nephews, and so forth. It hurt the community. And then you have on the news, they want to label all black Americans as thugs, and that's wrong. You have thugs in every community, and it sends out the wrong message to the world when black Americans have given so much to this nation. We carry this nation on our backs, and then we're disrespected. Then they come up with false narratives like black fatigue. You mean black traumatized. Black people have been traumatized and have given so much to this country, and we deserve to be respected because all the culture, all the music, dances from rock to country comes from black American style, flavor. It all comes from us. And we give this country its identity. And we are now a blended nation of many different cultures and many black, brown, and white, all hues that God has created. So if you have a problem with black people or people of color, take it up with God. Take it up with God, because if you are so blessed to go to heaven, one day you're going to find out it's not one group of what you call race of people. It's called the human race that are going to ascend up to heaven. And God made us all in his image. So anyway, we just wanted to give that shout out, let you know that we love you, and hopefully you will subscribe. And if you want people to be authentic, if you want people to tickle your ears, there's a lot of channels that are say, and they'll talk down about the black community, they'll talk down about MAGA, they'll talk down about the left and the right. This is not that channel, because both communities do things that are not pleasing. So it's not just all on the left, and it's not just all on the right. It's on all of us to do right and to be standing together. And the only thing that I wish is that our elected officials would do right by all Americans. You can't separate us in communities. I have a Democratic congressman, but I voted Republican, but he has to still represent me. And many of you, you might have voted for, say, a Republican leader, but it's a Democrat that's your congressman or congresswoman. So they have to be on one accord. They have to fight for all of us. Right now, I do not want Americans to continue to lose health care. It's so important. I thought it was America first. But I'm seeing so many Americans that have voted for Trump lose their federal jobs. Those are living wage jobs that cannot be replaced. Those are great jobs. And I don't want to continue to see my fellow Americans, which I thought more jobs were coming in than going out. We're still suffering. There are more jobs that have been lost because of Doge or whatever that did not make a dent into a $17 trillion deficit. You just put more people on the unemployment roll. You can't fire, say, 350,000 federal workers and black women and only add 22,000 jobs to the job market. We have to do better than that. We're not dumb. And with social media, you can fact check everything. Everything. Is you don't have to rely on just on mainstream media. You can find out for yourself. You can use Google, you can use any search engine. You can go to different platforms that have people that have boots on the ground that are telling you the truth. And of course, there's a lot of imposters out there. There's a lot of people that's in it for the money. We're not. We're not. Because our reward is in heaven. Our reward is with God. So when whatever we bring you is from the heart, because God sees, he knows what's in you. And what we're going to do on this channel, and like some of our subscribers that constantly come on here, we're going to put you on here. Not just people from the right, but people from the left. That we can communicate, talk civilly together in a clear, concise manner. And we, with the politicians, because we're not all right, wrong, or right about everything on either side.
If you want to explain to them that we don't make any money for this channel, they keep saying we're money laundering.
They could say, you know what, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't, we're not here to convince you to believe us in anything. Just like we don't have to believe you. We're telling you when we come on here, it's on our time, on our dime. And that's the honest to God truth. Whether you believe it or not, we don't care. We're not here. We're here to speak the truth. That's it. If God decides to bless us, that's coming from God, not from you. Because people like you want to count people's pockets instead of growing and maturing as you're probably an adult that should know better, but a lot of adults act like kids. So, but we're wishing the best. Trump is going to he's going to participate in the Medal of Freedom for ceremony for Charlie Kirk. Do you think it's warranted? Should Charlie Kirk be put like it's almost like he's being put like he was Jesus Christ on earth? You know, like, what do you think? Are they doing too much? They trying to make him like he was this person that was for all the people. He wasn't for all the people. It's the truth. He certainly wasn't for black people, if you really want to be honest about it. But you can't separate, like say that especially the president of the United States. You can't say you're the president of just MAGA or just the right. President Trump is the president of all Americans, all of us. So that's why I wish he stopped calling Americans radical left and talking about them, or you look like a low IQ, or you look like a criminal, or you look like a thug. You know, it sends a bad message when you have upstanding, phenomenal people that should be sitting in that office that don't run. But I hope to God the next election, the elections in 2026, 2028, there's some righteous people be put in regardless of party that are actually for the people and not for themselves. That's my wish. I want people that are righteous to do what's right. I'm tired of everybody out for each other. And if you don't like what I say, or they don't like what you say, they got a problem. Sometimes the truth hurts. You know, everybody's not going to agree with you. Your mom don't agree with you everything. Your husband, your wife, your kids, your boss. Nobody agrees with anyone with everything, and neither do we. And we will not sell out on that. We call it like we see it.
We go to church every Sunday.
We don't sugarcoat. 28:19.
Yeah.
Tony, you want to see? Read what that says. Read what that says. Okay. I just came back from a convention, and the convention was praying for this nation, praying for this president, praying for family, praying for everyone. That's what I spent my time and my dime on, traveling to other states to join other saints. It was 60,000 of us that just was there for prayer, no entertainment. We wanted to portal from here to God. That's what I did. I feel the fire of God in me, and I'm thankful. Okay? Church is not just inside the building, even though of course, we do go to church, but it's out here and it's talking to you. That's what church is. We're about Jesus. And we don't have to prove our Christianity to anyone. But I've been praying for all of you. When we went to that prayer, that was for this nation. That was for the president. That was for the administration. That was for all of us. All of us. The world. We have world events that are going on, and we have people plotting like a Putin and like a President Xi and like President Un from North Korea. We got people plotting on the United States right now, while we sit back and we're imploding inside, fighting each other. We're imploding, and you got countries plotting on us. We better wake up. We living in the last days. Y'all better wake up. Look at Gaza, peace in the Middle East. That's in the Bible. That means Jesus is coming back real soon. That's what that peace means. They say they keep the treaty for 3 years or 3.5 years, and then it'll be broken. That's in the Bible. Watch. You're supposed to keep looking up for Jesus. Watch what's going on. It's biblical. Just in case some of you don't know the Bible. So anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing what President Trump and his Medal of Freedom and ceremony that they're having right now. Hopefully, it'll be a great, ceremony. Do I think that it's a lot right now? It might be. It might be. I know that the people they thought that they was trying to make sure that had unfortunately taken his life, Tyler Robinson. They were talking about prior to find out that he was a white man. That I think it was Congresswoman Mason or someone. She was called for the death penalty. Let's kill him. Let's kill him. As soon as they found out he was white, of course that changed. Then they were about let's have forgiveness. Let's have forgiveness. Let's have forgiveness for everyone, everybody, because there's a lot of traumatized Americans regardless of the color of your skin. So anyway, this ceremony is about to get started. So that's President Trump and Mrs. Kirk coming out, holding hands with President Trump. She's wearing black for the ceremony.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please, this is such an honor. This is please be seated. This is the first time we've been at the new and improved Rose Garden, and people are loving it. They're loving it like they've not loved a lot of things. We have the Presidential Walk of Fame, which you just saw, and it just opened. We wanted to get it open for this occasion. We were hoping we were able to get outside, and the weather allowed us to. It was supposed to be a terrible rainy day. I was telling Eric, and God was watching, and he didn't want that for Charlie. He just didn't want that. So it's really beautiful. It couldn't be more beautiful. Today we're here to honor and remember a fearless warrior for liberty, beloved leader who galvanized the next generation like nobody I've ever seen before, and an American patriot of the deepest conviction, the finest quality and the highest caliber, the late, great Charlie Kirk. Five weeks ago, our nation was robbed of this extraordinary champion. He was a champion in every way. I got to know him so well. He didn't like losing, and he was able to fight people that were enemies, and he didn't necessarily love those enemies so much. I heard he loved his enemies, and I said, wait a minute, is that the same Charlie that I know? I'm not sure, but I didn't want to get into it. But it was a horrible, heinous, demonic act of murder. He was assassinated in the prime of his life for boldly speaking the truth, for living his faith and relentlessly fighting for a better and stronger America. He loved this country. And that's why this afternoon it's my privilege to posthumously award Charles James Kirk, our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you. As you know, only hours ago I returned from a very historic trip to secure peace in the Middle East. People said that couldn't be done. Charlie felt it could be done. Charlie felt it could be done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. But I raced back halfway around the globe. I was going to call Erica and say, Erica, could you maybe move it to Friday? And I didn't have the courage to call. But you know why I didn't call? Because I heard today was Charlie's birthday. And I said, that was a definite. And I said, we're going to have to forget about some of those very big, very rich countries that expected me to be there. And I can tell you, based on the length of that flight, I wouldn't want to go back tomorrow. But I would not have missed this moment for anything in the world. Nothing. And it's a very important time for our country, and our country is doing so well. It's never done better. We are a country with almost now $18 trillion of investment coming in. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. Previous administration had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We have more than 18, or it'll be much more than 20 by the time the year. More than $20 trillion. There's never been a country in the world that had anything like that. What's happened to our country is incredible in a short period of time. Charlie was a big person for, sir, could we close up those borders, please, a little bit? They're really leaking badly. I said, Charlie, I haven't gotten there yet. But, it came out last 4 months. Literally nobody was allowed into our country. And the only people that were allowed in were people that came all close. And they reported 0, 0, 0. So that's pretty good. But he was a big believer. He wanted people in the country more than I did, frankly. He wanted them to come in legally. And he got his wish. October 14th is Charlie's birthday, and he should have been turning 32 years old that day. When I first met him, he was like 22. And I said, boy, he's awfully young. But I thought he was older than that, He looked a little bit older than his age. That's okay, That's not good when you're old, but when you're young, it's great. He had the best of all things, but he was special. But it said Charlie is attaining a far more important milestone. We're entering his name forever into the eternal roster of true American heroes. He's a true American hero, an amazing person, way, way beyond his years. And I'm honored to be joined by a woman who has endured unspeakable hardship with unbelievable strength, and that's Charlie's widow, Erica. And I just want to thank you, Erica. He loved you so much. I was with him. Please. Thank you, darling. Thank you. I was with him before I met Erica, and he told me he was going to get married. He said, you won't believe how beautiful she is. I said, well, then now that I meet her, he's right. But then he also said, and you know what? She's like the smartest person I know. See, they do go together on occasion. Not often. But on occasion they go together. But he was in love with you. He was deeply in love with you. It's great. Erica, your love and courage have been an inspiration to all of us, and we will always be here for you, and we're always going to be here for your gorgeous, beautiful children, and we'll never forget what your family has sacrificed for our country. Man loved our country. When things were going badly for our country, he was so, as you know, angry. He would get angry because he said it doesn't have to be that way. We're also pleased to be joined by an incredible group of Charlie's friends, very powerful friends, actually, and some not so powerful, and they're actually better people, okay? I know them all. They're the less powerful ones. I have to tell you that, all of you power guys down here. The best ones in the group are the ones that are less successful, but that happens too. No, they're all great, and they're here. And let's start with Erica's father. Where is Erica's father? Where are you? Where are you, Dad? Oh, look at him. Wow. I want to get a hat like that, too. I like that. How are you? Nice to see you again. Thanks as well to Vice President J.D. Vance, who's been fantastic. J.D., thank you very much. Great. Doing a great job. Did a great job on Sunday with George Slobodopoulos. I think Put him away pretty good. Second lady, who's a phenomenal woman, Usha Vance. Thank you very much, Usha. Thank you very much. Great woman. President of Argentina. He wanted to be here. That's Argentina's a serious flight, right? And he's become a superstar, and he's doing amazing things. He's a mega person, but it's make Argentina great again. That's what he does, right? And I want you to stand, please, Javier Milei, doing a great job. Thank you very much. Many members of my cabinet are here, just about all of them are here. I won't go into every single one of them, but I'll announce a few of the people that have really turned this country around and helped me. Incredible people. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Where is Mike? Mike, what a job you're doing, Mike. What a job you're doing. And I watched you this morning, and you're in there trying to say, look, just let the country open. Everything will be fine. We're dealing with some radical left lunatics.
Stop
And I
it.
just wish Charlie was here to fight us. I think the fight would have been over already. He would have had a march on the Capitol by people whose average age is about 21, because there's nobody that had that relationship with young people. Right, Mike? So thank you, Mike, for being here. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, thank you very much. A brave guy and friend. House Majority Whip, another terrific man, Tom Emmer. Tom. Thank you, Tom. Senate Majority Whip, John Barrasso. John, thank you very much. Again, all these senators, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm not going to read all their names. I'll be reading all day. We'll be talking about Charlie in about 45 minutes from now. We can't do that. So all of the senators, there's so many of you, thank you very much. I do want to thank Senator Thune for doing a terrific job. He's really been leading properly. Do you agree, Mike? The two of these guys have been fantastic. So to Senator Thune, I want to thank you very much. Incredible job. I watched him this morning, and he was out there pounding them this morning on television too. And John Barrasso, thank you for the work you've done, and congratulations on your success. But I want to thank you all and all of the Congress people that are here. I see we have our Attorney General here, and you are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Pat. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have everybody. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, I'm not going to do any more. I'm going to be here too long, but I just want to thank you. You have given him such support, but he always gave you such support. That's why you're here. And very unusual. James Kirk was a visionary and one of the greatest figures of his generation. He was truly an amazing figure and growing leaps and bounds. He knew that the fight to preserve our heritage is waged not only on the battlefield and in the halls of power, of which we have tremendous power here, including the head of a place called War. We call it now War. We had Defense. We had our Secretary of Defense. Now we have a Secretary of War. And somehow I think it's more emblematic, and hopefully we'll never have to use war, but the fact that we're ready is very good. Peace through strength is very important, but also in the hearts of our nation's youth. That's where Charlie rode strongest. At age 18, that insight inspired Charlie to found the organization that ultimately touched the lives of millions and millions of people, and so many young people that nobody's ever seen anything like it, frankly. Turning Point USA. It's amazing, and it's actually bigger now. It's become bigger in the last few weeks than Charlie ever thought. I think his end vision in many years from now would have been just a fraction of what it turned out to be in a couple of weeks, right? It's amazing. With hard work and joyful spirit and endless enthusiasm and determination. And he did have great enthusiasm. You know, I always say you need enthusiasm to be successful. He had great enthusiasm. Charlie grew Turning Point into the largest conservative youth organization in the entire country. He forged a personal bond with countless young conservatives. He fought for free speech, religious liberty, strong borders, and a very strong and proud America. In everything he did, he put America first. He really put America first. And ultimately, Charlie became more than a leader of an important organization. He became the leader of historic movements all over the country. There were movements, individual movements, one movement, but it was historic. Everything he did was historic, and
For all the people.
a true evangelist for the cause of freedom and the word of Almighty God. God was very important to Charlie. He would say, you know, if you don't have religion, you're not going to have a strong country. It's true. He was so wise beyond his years. You know, I talk to him sometimes and say, this guy is like a young guy. He was really a wise man. From the time Charlie worked on my presidential campaign in 2016, and he was there right from the beginning. He liked me. I don't know. I have no idea why. What the hell was he thinking? He said, you're going to win, sir. I said, you know, I'm running against 17 senators and a lot of tough people and governors. We have all these people. And he said, no, you're going to win, sir. He said, not going to be close. And he made it happen. He helped make it happen. I'll tell you that. Without him, who knows what would be. Maybe you'd have Kamala standing here today. That would not be good. I will tell you, Javier, you don't know who Kamala is. Promise, it would not be good. Do you agree with that, Howard? He also mobilized countless citizens to go vote. It's called Go Vote. Very simple. And with his help in 2024, we won more young people than any Republican by far in the history of our country. And we won the popular vote. We won the swing states, all 7 of them. Remember, they said, oh, well, if Trump could win 4, that would be nice. I win 7 by a lot, by a landslide. But the popular vote was massive. And we won the Electoral College. Remember, they said, well, it's going to be very hard. I'd say 270. Well, we got 312 to 226. And then we won something called districts and councils and different things. But in one case, we won 2,750 to 525. That's the one where you see the map is almost entirely red, except they have a little blue line on one side and a little blue line, meaning New York and a little bit Los Angeles. I have a feeling that if the vote were 100%, we would have won that too. You want to know the truth. But he knew, and he knew very well, and he also understood honesty, and he was always concerned with honesty. He said the only way we can lose is if the cheating gets so bad, and that's where we came up with a little phrase, too big to rig. We said, go out and vote, just go out and vote. And we had that, remember, we used to say that all the time, because people would say, oh, they're going to win, we don't have to vote. Let's go to a movie, we'll come home and watch later. And he wasn't about that, so we come up to, really together, we came up with that phrase, we got to make it too big. I never made a speech where I didn't say at the end, now look, the polls are showing good, don't believe the polls. He said, we're going to make it, Susie, right? Too big to rig. So if you think we're going to win by a lot, doesn't matter. Pretend we're losing. You got to go out and vote. They voted. And at 9:02, the whole thing was over, right? 9:02. Remember they said, oh, this could go a few days. Well, went a few minutes. 9:02. And he knew that. And I felt it, but he knew it. He knew it. I think he knew it more than anybody. But Charlie never missed an opportunity to remind us of the Judeo-Christian principles of our nation's founding, or to share his deep Christian faith. In his final moments, Charlie testified to the greatness of America and to the glory of our Savior, with whom he now rests in heaven. And he's going to make heaven. I said, I'm not sure I can make it, but he's going to make it. He's there. He's looking down on us right now. So incredible. Look at this, how this turned out. This was supposed to be so dark and cloudy. Not dark and cloudy, I said. And look at that, how beautiful that is. There's no artist that can capture it as beautiful as it is today. Wow, it's amazing. As I said, on the day that he was assassinated, Charlie Kirk was a martyr for truth and for freedom. And from Socrates to think, and to St. Peter, from Abraham Lincoln to Martin Luther King, those who change history the most, and he really did, have always risked their lives for causes they were put on earth to defend. He was put on earth to do exactly what he was doing. He didn't want to waste time. He would have been a top student at any college in the country. I know the college as well. He's smarter than the guys there. He was so smart. But he almost, I guess, didn't have the time. He knew what he wanted to do. It wasn't like, gee, I want to sit in the classroom for 4 years listening to people. teach me liberal principles, because they were never going to teach him that anyway. But he didn't have the time. He really didn't have the time. But every time the enemies of goodness and virtue tried to silence the voice of righteous and noble leaders like Charlie, they failed. They seem to fail. Ultimately, they look like they're doing well, and then they end up failing, because the truth has been unrelenting over the years, over history. And people like Charlie, it's just they've got a power that others don't have, and very few people will ever have. So today, like those martyrs before him, Charlie's voice, his message, and his legacy are stronger and greater than ever before. They are greater than ever before. Look, this is a horrible event, but it brought out the greatness of Charlie. Nothing could have ever supplanted this. It's incredible the way people are talking about him, and with great love. I mean, I read so many stories about some of the enemies, but I watch the enemies, and it's hard for them to speak badly about him because they just don't. And then you do have people in the days since Charlie's killing. We've seen exactly why our country so dearly needed his example. We've watched legions of far-left radicals resort to desperate acts of violence and terror because they know that their ideas and arguments are persuading no one. They know that they're failing. They have the devil's ideology, and they're failing, and they know it, they feel it, and they become violent. They seem to become very violent on the left. They've rammed vehicles into federal law enforcement, fired sniper rifles at ICE agents, and me, you know. But I made a turn at a good time. I turned to the right. Charlie couldn't believe it, actually. He said, "How the hell did you make that turn?" I said, "I don't know." But fired rifles and threatened the lives of our Supreme Court justices, our great justices. They have to be protected. We just issued a lot of money, $60 million, to protect the Supreme Court justices. Very important. We can't let anything happen. In places of worship, we're protecting our people. We've seen that a candidate for Attorney General in Virginia boasted that he would want to see the Republican legislature, a legislator in Virginia, shot in the head and to see his children murdered. He actually said this. And now he continues to run for office, and most people continue to back him, but he said he wants his man shot. He said shot in the head and to see his children murdered. And they keep running. Pretty amazing, right? That's a bad one. Let's see how that turns out, but that's a really bad one. Nobody's heard that one before. Especially in the wake of Charlie's assassination, our country must have absolutely no tolerance for this radical left violence, extremism, and terror. We're done with the angry mobs, and we're not going to let our cities be unsafe. We're going to make sure our cities are safe. When you have Chicago, where they had 4,000 people murdered over a very short period of time, 4,000 people, and then we have a governor stand up and say, "Oh, things are going swimmingly." No, they're not. We're going to make Chicago safe, just like we're going to make. Look what we did in D.C. It's so nice that we started here, because this was one of the most violent places in the United States. It'd be dangerous to be right out here. But you couldn't go to a restaurant. The restaurants were all dying. The whole place was dying. You'd have these gorgeous, look at the Washington Monument over there. You'd have these gorgeous buildings and monuments and structures. And people were afraid to leave their apartment. They were afraid to go to work. They'd get into an Uber and they'd feel safe, and then the Uber would be attacked. They thought they made it to safety, and then the Uber was attacked on the trip in. But we've done a great job, and now it's considered a totally safe city. We haven't had problems. It took us 12 days to make it great. We took out, Pam, 1,700 hard criminals, career criminals in many cases, but these are hardened criminals. Many of them came in through the Biden open borders. We brought them back to the countries. And a couple were so violent that we put them in jail. We don't want to take a chance that they could get back in, because no matter how good we do, somebody can sneak in. They were so violent and so bad. One arrested 28 times. Every time he left prison, he'd get into a violent incident. 28 times. And we put him away for a long time. But we're done with the angry mobs. We're done with it. This is such an unbelievable place right now. You take a look where you can walk down the middle of the street with your wife or your husband. Your children can walk. They can walk alone. It doesn't matter. They can walk anywhere in Washington, and they're safe now. If this were a year and a half ago, a year ago, they have a serious chance of being badly hurt, even killed. Even killed. They come in from Indiana, they come in from Iowa, they come from Florida to see their nation's capital, and somebody would have to call the parents, I'm sorry, but your son or your daughter's been killed. Not anymore. You hear those sirens going off? That's good. That's a good sound. That means they either got the bad guy or they're going to stop the bad guy. You didn't hear that sound because nobody wanted to do anything. Nobody. Listen to the beauty of that sound. Seriously. And that's the real deal sirens. They're not politically correct sirens. You hear they're about 3 miles away. That's great. What a beautiful sound. They're stopping crime. That's what they're doing. So we're done with the voices of fools. They're fools. And death threats. And we're going to make our cities safe. And I thought it was Charlie's, one of his biggest dreams was that he couldn't believe it. Chicago's going to be a great city again. We already, we sent people in there 6 months ago, and this governor said, well, crime is down. Yeah, that's because we had the FBI in there for 6 months, just preparing it for the bigger surge. And they've done a great job, the cash and the FBI. They've done a great job, and they love doing it, They love being able to do it. They were restricted from doing it. They couldn't do anything. And now they're totally unrestricted. All they have to do is stop crime. And they're doing it. By the way, Memphis, as you know, you heard they went in about a week ago. One of the most dangerous places in the country. It's really in the world. It's not just a country. They have very few cities that would compare to some of these cities. You go to Afghanistan, you say, oh, that's unsafe. Well, the crime numbers are much better than the crime numbers in places that we have. So Memphis, I understand, is doing unbelievably in 1 week. It's like a different place. And this took 12 days, and then after that, we just perfected it. But after 12 days, we had good safety here. After 1 month, it's like, it's really amazing. And by the way, restaurants are booming. Restaurants are opening up. The big problem you can't get into a restaurant in D.C. anymore. So they're opening up. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's called safety. It's called law enforcement and letting them do their job. And that's why I said last month that I directed the Attorney General and the Department of Homeland Security to confront the very real threat of left-wing terrorism in our country. It's a real threat. Not when you confront it, it's not, because they're not brave people. In fact, they're cowards. When you confront them, they immediately fold. You have to see them fold. You have to see them crying. They fold. But it includes dismantling the networks that fund them and finance them, and we're finding out who those networks are. We already know quite a few of them. When you see these violent incidents, and then you see people holding this gorgeous sign with beautiful wood, beautiful cardboard, wood, everything's perfect paint job, and they're all the same. There are thousands of them. You know that they weren't made in the basement out of love. They were made by anarchists, and in some cases wealthy. I'll probably find some of my nice friends that are up there being so nice to me, especially lately. They're being very nice. But it surprises you who they may be, and you almost wonder why would they do it? But they're hurting our country, and we're really taking it back one by one. If we didn't go into Los Angeles early on in the administration, the commissioner, the chief of police in Los Angeles said, if they didn't go in, we would have lost our city. Now, they already lost 25,000 houses to fire because they wouldn't let the water come in from the Pacific Northwest, which they should have done. I said, you better do it. They didn't do it, and we had 25,000 homes where they had no water in the sprinklers, they had no water in the fire hydrants. It would have been a different kind of a thing if they did what they were supposed to do. We had to break in. We broke in and had the water come down. They said for the environment, great, they lost 25,000 houses. It's incredible. But the commissioner said without the federal government and President Trump's intervention, we would have lost the entire city. And we have the Olympics going there soon. I got the Olympics. We have the Olympics, we have the World Cup. And we have, most importantly, we have the 250th anniversary of our country. That's going to be most important. And all of these things are happening. And we're going to have safe cities. We're going to have very, very safe cities. So 1 month after Charlie's death, we still feel the terrible shock and the pain of his loss, like just about nobody I can think of. Charlie Kirk was one of a kind. He was unstoppable. And he really was, boy, when he had an idea in his head, oh, he would call me, sir, please, you haven't done it yet. I said, Charlie, relax, just relax. He didn't relax, he'd call me the next day again. It got it done. But he was like indomitable and always will be, he's really irreplaceable. There's nobody gonna replace him. But they're gonna do great, but you can't replace that kind of person and that kind of talent, frankly. The word talent is an important word, but that kind of talent. So we hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived. And he really did. He lived for this country. He lived for his wife and his family, but he lived for this country too. In Charlie's honor, we will continue like we have been to fight, 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 and to win, win, win. We're going to win so much. So, the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a big deal. You have the Congressional Medal of Honor, military, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is civilian. And the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a really big deal. Very few people get it. Very few people, frankly, qualify. It's a decision of the president, but it's a qualification that's a very hard one to get. And I would like to ask, if I might, the military aide to read Charles James Kirk's citation for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Charles James Kirk. Accepting on behalf of Charlie is his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk was one of the most influential American political figures of his generation. At just 18 years old, he founded Turning Point USA and grew it into the largest conservative youth organization in the nation. For over a decade, he tirelessly traveled the country, leading a movement to restore respect for our founding principles, reawaken our national identity, and inspire a renewed spirit of religious devotion. He was one of the great debaters and communicators of his time. Despite receiving repeated threats, he remained undeterred and modeled courage, logic, humor, and grace to the next generation. On September 10th, 2025, at age 31, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing a group of students. The United States honors him as a martyr for truth and freedom.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
President,
Jack.
for honoring my husband in such a profound and meaningful way. And thank you for making this event a priority amid the peace process in the Middle East. Thank you. Very grateful. Charlie always admired your commitment to freedom, and that's something that both of you shared. So thank you. Your support of our family and the work that Charlie devoted his life to will be something I cherish forever, so thank you. To our gracious First Lady in her office for making this event possible, thank you as well. It's beautiful. To Vice President and the lovely Usha Vance, your friendship has been an unbelievable encouragement. Thank you. And to all our friends and family that are here and watching from all around the world, thank you for loving us. Thank you for praying for us and for believing in what Charlie believed in. And to our Turning Point USA staff and the Charlie Kirk Show staff, we love you more than you could ever know. And to the Turning Point USA chapters that are watching all across America right now, you are the heartbeat of this future and of this movement. Everything that Charlie built, you guys are the legacy holders of that. You are living proof that his mission did not die with him. It lives through you. And Charlie always said the next generation will decide whether freedom endures. And because of you, I know that freedom will endure. It will. And today we're gathered not only to celebrate Charlie's birthday, but to honor a truth that he gave his entire life to defend, and that's freedom. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. He used to love to journal about this topic all the time, and with such a heart postured of gratitude. And he believed that liberty was both a right and a responsibility. And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. And from the time I met him, sitting across from him, being interviewed on politics and philosophy and theology, anything that Charlie loved, any topic he loved, and I just saw the fire in his soul, and there was this divine restlessness within him that came from knowing God placed him on this earth to protect something very, very sacred for all of us. And he never stopped fighting for people to experience freedom. He didn't. Charlie often said that without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth. And I remember in one of his speeches, he told the audience that the opposite of liberty isn't law. He said it's captivity. And that the freest people in the world are those whose hearts belong to Christ. But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right. And in one of his journal entries, he wrote that he wanted everyone to know that you can't have liberty without moral responsibility. Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself. And what's so fascinating about all of this is looking back these past 12 years of Turning Point USA and his mission, there's almost this veil of sacredness. Because what I realize is that while he was building an organization, he was also building a movement. One that called people back to God, back to truth, and a movement that was filled with courage. And ironically, for a man who impacted millions, Charlie never desired to be the center of attention. He just wasn't. My husband was not a man of extravagance. He loved simple but deeply meaningful things. Truly. He loved his late night walks. He loved buying more books than he could ever read because he felt there was no such thing as a book budget. And he loved being able to read to our kids the same bedtime story on repeat because he knew it was their favorite. But to him, that was special. And he loved to sit in the sun on a Saturday morning with his cup of decaf coffee, and his phone was off because he was honoring the Sabbath. And for him, it was that moment to catch his breath and just be in peace because he was unreachable at the moment. And he preferred quiet birthdays. But that never stopped me from telling him. I told him every single year, I said, baby, I love your birthday. I said, because it's the day that God knew the world couldn't go another day without you. And so the rhythm of our usual birthday celebration for him was mint ice cream, mint chocolate chip ice cream. He only had it twice a year, on his birthday and 4th of July. And then after that, it was back to work as usual. But last year, his one birthday wish was to see the Oregon Ducks play the Ohio State. And they won. Oregon won that night. And it was by far one of the most memorable nights of his birthday experience of his life until today. And so, honestly, President Trump, I have spent 7.5 years trying to find the perfect birthday gift for Charlie. And it's so difficult. And those of you that have spouses or loved ones, you know how difficult it is sometimes to buy a gift for someone that you love, because he wasn't a materialistic man, so that also did not help. But now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have. It's such an honor and the recognition of a life lived for defending freedom. And that's what Charlie fought for until his last breath. And it was written across his chest in those final moments on one of his simple t-shirts that always carried a message, and this one bearing a single word, freedom. That was the banner over his life, and that shirt was a declaration. The same declaration he made in every speech, every campus visit, every time he shared the gospel at a church, every sleepless night that he would spend praying for the youth of this nation and planning for the future of our country, and just impressing upon them that when we defend liberty, we defend the soul of our nation. My husband never told anyone what to say. He never did. He never told anyone what to say. He would just encourage them to think. He would encourage them to think outside of the traditional political labels. He would want them to think in a way that was anchored in wisdom and truth. But he would never tell anyone what to say. Charlie wasn't content to simply admire freedom. He wanted to multiply it. He wanted to multiply freedom. He wanted young people to taste it and to understand it. and defend it. He wanted them to see that liberty isn't self-indulgence, it's self-governance under God. He wanted them to see that. And every day I'd see him getting ready for work. He'd put on his cross necklace, he'd put his ring on his finger. And the boldness in his demeanor was always fearlessness. He wasn't afraid. He was never afraid. In his daily actions, whether in office or on campus or at a church, it was always without fear. That was his creed. That is how he lived out every single day. He didn't fear being slandered. He did not. He didn't fear losing friends, I can tell you that. He didn't. He didn't care. He stood for truth and stood for freedom, and he did not, everything else was just noise to him. And it's because his confidence in Christ was absolute. That's why. There was no limit to what he would have sacrificed to defend freedom for all. And if the moment had come, he probably would have run for president, but not out of ambition. He would only have done it if that was something that he believed that his country needed from a servant's heart standpoint. And Charlie lived only 31 short years. I was 32, but on this side of heaven, but he lived. He lived every single second he lived. He filled every single day with purpose, and he fought for truth when it was unpopular. And he stood for God when it was costly, but that's what we're called to do. Surprisingly enough, he did pray for his enemies, which is very hard, but he did. He did. He did. No one else, I mean, I saw him do it. No, he never did it in front of anyone else, but I can attest to that. But he also loved people when it was inconvenient. And he ran his race with endurance, and he kept the faith. And now he wears the crown of a righteous martyr. And for me and for our children, the truth really steadies our grief, because heaven gained what earth could no longer contain. A free man made fully free. And to all watching, this is not a ceremony. This is a commissioning. And my message is simple. I want you to be the embodiment of this medal. I do. It is inherited in this country. Each of us must be intentional stewards every single day. God began a mighty work through my husband, and I intend to see it through. And the torch is in our hands now. It's in mine, it's in yours, it's in all of yours. It's in all those students with Turning Point USA. And before I close, I'll share with you that I asked our daughter what she would like to say to Daddy for his birthday. She said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I want to give you a stuffed animal. I want you to eat a cupcake with ice cream, and I want you to go have a birthday surprise. I love you," is what she said. And while our son is precious, he can't yet speak, in classic Kirk family fashion, his actions spoke louder than his words, and his gift to you, Charlie, and myself for that matter, was deciding to become the man of the house and be fully potty trained at 16 months. But Charlie, baby, I know that you're celebrating in heaven today, but gosh, I miss you. We miss you. And we love you, and we promise we'll make you proud. And Charlie's life was proof that freedom is not a theory, it's a testimony. He showed us that liberty begins not in the halls of power, but in the man of a heart surrendered to God. And so today, as we honor Charlie, with this incredible Presidential Medal of Freedom on his birthday. I stand here with tears and just a humbled heart and spirit, because his story reminds us all that to live free is the greatest gift, but to die free is the greatest victory. Happy birthday, my Charlie. Happy Freedom Day. God bless you.
Well, that was some memorial. I was expecting to hear from his parents. I thought that would have been lovely if more of the focus was on Charlie Kirk family that had his mother and father, and maybe if he had siblings and his wife to speak, along with the president. But we've heard a lot of what the president had to say in regards to the country. And I think that it would have been more ceremoniously if he had the parents. I would have loved to have heard from their parents that they could have described the type of young man he was growing up, and how did he get to be the person that started an organization like Turning Point USA. What was his drive? He had to have a drive to had accomplished what he did in 31, just being 31 years old. So he did it within 31 years. So it would have been great. I just think that we saw the memorial. We heard from his wife, which is, of course, we want to hear from her. That was her husband. But it would have been great to actually hear from his parents, especially receiving the highest honor that you can give to a civilian. So that would have been, I think that would have capitalized this ceremony more than the president speaking about Chicago and about the crime, and like we hear it all the time. He's trying to, talk about it consistently to get it in our spirit that it's so much crime. Crime has always been in the United States, and crime is down all over the United States of America. And bringing in the National Guards and everything that he's doing is not going to solve crime in the country when you're focused on one group of people. Crime will continue. And they learned that from the 1994 crime bill that Joe Biden was the author of. And now you have to convince Americans, so you're safer now. You're safer now. Now you're safe because now we're incarcerated. We're going to all the urban cities. We're incarcerating Black people, so now you're safer. While we ignore all of the mass shootings and school shooters and cop killers, all of that, Trump does not talk about. And that's my problem I have with him. But as far as I think it should have stayed, instead of talking about, to me, that's a whole nother subject. He's trying to convince America that getting training for the troops through American citizens is the way to go, like he told the military. It's not the way to go. I would never be in agreement with sending out troops to have training when they're not trained to police American citizens.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say Endure said hi.
Oh, hi. Yeah, so we're not going to just have everything he says that we go along with it. We're going to speak the truth. And like I'll reiterate for new people that's on here, I'm not beholden to any party. I'm beholden to God. Period. God. I want our leadership, regardless if it's a Democratic president, a Republican president, a Democrat administration, a Republican administration, do right by all the people. We're one nation under God. You cannot separate us, because when you fire federal workers and you fire people and you take 25 million people or whatever off of health care, that's all Americans, whether they voted Republican or if they MAGA or if they're Democrats. That's going to affect everybody.
It's like, why is the president of the United States calling a whole millions and whole party lunatics?
Lunatics and radical. At first, I'll be honest, at first I used to laugh at it. Oh, he's calling it the radical left, yeah, they're radical, the radical left and all that. But you're the president of all of them, all the left. Because someone vote Democrat, they're not supposed to be ostracized, but that's their right as an American to vote according to their own convictions. And it's wrong to feel like you're just the president of one segment of people. I didn't vote for him to separate the Americans. Divide us. I said the election is over. He won. So let's support our leadership. If you don't like what Trump is doing, pray for him. Pray for the administration. But to keep minimize the Democratic Party, like every time there's a something happens, you blame you said the radical left, but the radical left didn't kill Charlie Kirk. It was one person. That was Tyler Robinson, allegedly that decided that the actions that he wanted to take against the very man, the type of man, the white man that Charlie came to the campus to recruit into Turning Point USA. That's the person that took his life. It wasn't the radical left. It was one person. It was one person. Nobody says anything about all the school shooters or white on white crime, all these shooters and mass shooters, and label them. It's not all one party. It's individuals that are making these decisions. And what happens in this country, it affects all of us. You can't separate that. You can have your all one community, but you're isolating yourself from a body of people that God created. And if you don't like the color of my skin or anybody's skin in this country, take it up with God. Because he created us. Take it up with God. You say you Christian, you say you righteous, but you have a problem with the color of someone's pigmentation. You're going to base whether who's intelligent or not and capable or not of holding positions according to their pigmentation. You take it up with God, because as far as I know, God created all our brains the same. He didn't make a race more superior than the other. That's what man has done in the last 10,000 years or so. Man that's not God. And we're all going to answer to God. God is not going to say everybody that's brown and black, well, you're not coming to heaven. It's only going to be what? White people? You really think that? It's like the people aren't rational. They're not even thinking straight. God created the human race. We were created in his image. And he's done a beautiful thing making us different. That's what makes us all special. I like that there are Indians. I like that there are Asians. I like that there are Italians and Jews and indigenous and black and white. I like the differences that makes the world. I love that. The different cultures and what we have to offer. It's amazing. But the base is no matter what contributions you make to this country, and you're going to label a group of people thugs while you got the real thugs and the threats running around that you say nothing about. It's totally ignored, because we want to keep saying that the black man is a thug, or you're safer now in the communities, less crime. They're arresting people that haven't committed crimes. So y'all know that? They're just arresting people to get numbers. People not walking around. They're not arresting murderers and rapists. They're not even committing these crimes out there with these people. They're arresting everyday citizens, are getting caught up in that bunch because of their ethnicity. For numbers. For numbers. This is a number game. You can't deport illegal immigrants who are working the farms, and the farmers are complaining that they need people to pick those damn crops. What better way? Because when you go to prison, you are a slave. So get the black people to do it, arrest them, bump up charges. And Trump is saying, and I bind it up in the name of Jesus, he's locking people up because they might commit future crimes one day. Where is that in the law that you can give a child, they want to take children, 30 years, because tweets and 20 years from now, they might commit some other crimes. Who does that? He committed a crime as far as they're concerned, many crimes, and he's the president of the United States of America. He's the president, a convicted felon, 34 counts. And how can you do that to young people, regardless of ethnicity? You don't arrest people and give them 30, 40 years and they haven't committed a crime that warrants that type of time. It's supposed to be justice. I will fight this because it's wrong. And the reason why this stuff goes on is because good people say nothing. Because you're going to look at the criminal aspect, I could show you the real criminals and the crime and the threats that they won't show you, that the White House completely ignores. I still haven't heard him say nothing about the cop killer in York, Pennsylvania, that shot and killed 3 cops. Ambush, 2 critically injured. You know that the news media wouldn't even say the killer's name, the thug, the criminal name. They tell me we're going to call him an actor. That bothers me. But if that was a black man, y'all have a crazy picture of thug criminal. See, they violent. That's a lie. And that's why people come into this country, the first thing they do, oh, they go black person, they're a thug criminal. That's a lie from hell. We are educated, articulate, and we are living middle class, upper middle class, millionaires, multi-millionaires, and so forth. Everybody has an area in their state or community that's low income. Low income. And it's white on white crime, black on black crime, Latino on Latino crime. That's how it is according to where you live. But I just want honesty from the administration. I hope to God that we could get people in office that will be about all Americans and not be racist and stereotype and prejudice. I'm talking about fatigue. We got to call black people are traumatized. We're tired of it. And they want to label us when all the things in the history, want to erase the history of what's been done to us, but we don't get grace at all from having mental illness, traumatized. We have to do better. And that's why I haven't been on here all week, because I've been praying, because prayer changes things. It changes things with other saints. 60,000 of us, one time, are praying all together for this president and this nation, our communities, for our families, friends, and so forth. It's important. And we're going to continue to pray because we need people that are not stop separating us. And you don't say one nation under God and God bless America and you racist. God does not approve of that. Because he made us, whether you like it or not. We got to do better. We're going to have people to come on here. I got things to do. We might try to come back on. But don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. But we're going to have people to come on here that can speak in a clear, concise manner. I want, is Indoor, is Mr. Buki, Jack. We want, a Republican, MAGA, and we want a Democrat to come on, and they can join in. And it's about being able to communicate in a clear, concise manner And that's what we're going to engage. I'm going to have Birch Gold. I know he's been waiting to come on. Birch Gold, I haven't forgotten about you. I've just been so busy. But I'm going to have Birch Gold, and he's going to show us how to invest in gold, IRAs or whatever you want to invest, because the dollar, that's what the rest of the world, they're investing in gold and the dollar's losing value. So I'm going to bring some valuable people on. And I told him few weeks ago I'll have him on, but I've been busy. But I do want to bring on some of our subscribers. We're going to have a contest because we should have like 100,000 subscribers right now. But we're going to do stuff to get the subscribers up.
Get Jack and Mr. Booski.
Yeah, we get Jack. That's what I just said. Go ahead. Tell me, Elijah.
That'd be a really great
I
show.
don't know if the Mr. Bookie is on, but I think Jack was on. So send us, if you guys are on, send us your email. So people who might want to be on the show, that's been on our show, supporting the show, send it to our Speak the Truth 2.0 Instagram.
Yeah.
Your email, so that we can, we need the email to be able to add you to a live. So send us that if you're on here, and we'll pick out a show that we can do. I know people have been asking me on the show. We had other people with large followings on their channels to, they want to debate us and things like that. But we're going to pick and choose, because we're on here to be able to communicate, and we do have different opinions.
Catwalk, the girls still love me, my dude. They still love me.
So anyway, God is good. What
this person said.
What? Oh yeah, report him.
Okay.
And you know what? It's a hard dislike your way too, because we never asked you to be here. If you want somebody to tickle your fancy and to say everything you want to hear, there's a lot of channels that have sellouts. There are a lot of channels that'll say whatever you want to say. But on this channel, we're going to speak what we believe, and we believe in the truth, and we believe on standing on the word of God. And that does not mean that we're human, we're fallible. That means we're right about everything, but it's okay to have other people with opinions. And that's why we're going to bring on other people that have different opinions, that we can engage in conversations. And maybe we can come to agreement for the betterment of this nation. Because all this divide doesn't work. A president that's attacking people in this country that he represents is not right. It's not right. I'm not for that. I don't agree with the Democratic Party a lot of the things, and especially the things I believe it goes against the word of God. But I don't believe if I was president and I'm supposed to represent them, that I would be trying to arrest them all the time and trying to go after them, trying to put them in jail, trying to just like they're not a part of America. It's not right, because some of them are married to Republicans. There's Democrats and Republicans living in the same household, mothers, fathers, wives, husbands. You're going to have people have a right to vote and to choose how. That's their God-given right.
Where's your proof and evidence to that Rosa Parks was a staged event?
Okay, we're not going to entertain Luna. We got to go to Martin Luther King. We saw his exhibit too when we went to pray. But yeah, Rosa Parks, you know what? People are so out there these days. They said Sandy Hooks would have hosted all those kids that got killed. It's like people are so far gone these days that they don't even recognize the truth when it's right in front of their face. But we're not going to be concerned about that. You can stay in bubble land all you want to. All right? You can stay in bubble land all you want to. And when people have nothing to say, they try to degrade. They try to attack. Did you report that person?
Yeah.
You report that person. See, that works both ways. That's not a one-way thing. But you're not going to control what we say, how we say it. You're not going to control our honesty and us being authentic. You're not going to control that. And if you don't like it, then you can go somewhere else. There are many channels that want to get paid. You know what? That we would be rich if we just went along to get along.
Jerry, you're a complete conspiracy theorist. It's time for everyone to Google Rosa Parks and find out it was staged.
You know what? You're not from this country. Obviously, you're not from this country, or you've been living in the backwoods somewhere. Because you never heard of Civil Rights March and how the buses were boycotted for a couple of years because of Rosa Parks, that, she refused to give up her seat to a white man. Okay, see, that's what Trump wants to erase, history. History. But there's so much out there, he'll never be able to erase what happened during slavery. He'll never be able to erase the horrific, barbaric actions that were taken on, that they had done to enslaved people. He will never be able to get rid of that. We don't like it, and it happened, but it's the truth, and it's our past. And that's, you're supposed to learn from the past so you can have a better future to move forward. And people like you is why it's important not to remove the artifacts and everything out of the Smithsonian Museum, to try to erase that part of history, because look at you. You're uneducated. That's the danger of what he's doing. That's a great example.
Yeah.
Great example. That's a big part of history in this country. Big part of history. Even when they try to carpool, they try to stop black people from even trying to share a ride or whatever, even back then. Then they had to walk 10 miles to work. They walked. They stood on business.
Jerry, how about you pick up a history book and read it for yourself? No one has to Google Rosa Parks, because
we already know. They got to Google it. That's sad. It's sad that you don't know that, didn't learn it in school. And that's what they don't want to be told. You must be from Florida, because they try to remove all of it out of the school systems. But they want to teach about Christopher Columbus. But it's okay. We know the truth, and the truth will set you free. But anyway, we ain't got time to educate you. You got to learn for yourself as an adult. You got to learn for yourself. Okay? It's available. You don't have to go on. You could look up. You can use ChatGPT. You can use Google. Use social media. You could find out. Ask your professor. Ask a professor. Ask somebody that's a historian.
We're from the United States of America.
Ask someone that you trust, because you should have learned about Rosa Parks. Everybody knows about Rosa Parks.
How can you say that with the username Swagalicious?
Okay, well, anyway, we're ready to jump off. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. This is not the video I really wanted to do, but since he was honoring Charlie Kirk, I thought it would be more memorial for Charlie Kirk, like having his family up there. I would love to have seen his parents, told us the backstory about him as a boy. That would have been better than Trump repeating about crime like it's not all over the United States, and he's like ignoring crime that's committed by all races.
Yeah. 2 comments. Native American Day, Columbus was a joke. Yeah.
And he got rid of Native American Day. No, he got rid of I think he did. He got rid of Native American Day.
David said everybody knows about Rosa Parks. That's probably a troll.
Yeah, probably is. But anyway, we love you. God bless you. 2819. Spread the word to all have heard. God is good. But we'll try to jump back on, because I just thought it was important. I wanted to see that they were going to do something for Charlie Kirk, and I thought that we would have learned more about Charlie Kirk, the boy, and growing up in his household, and we would have had opportunity to meet the parents. I think that would have been lovely. But it didn't happen, so, oh well. Anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. And we'll try to jump back on.
Now Jerry's saying he's read several history books.
You haven't read anything, did you? You didn't read anything. The more you talk, the more uneducated you sound. Because that's like everybody knows about Harriet Tubman. Everybody knows about Washington Carver. Everybody knows about Frederick Douglass. It's just certain Martin Luther King. There are just certain people, Malcolm X, that in history, they like the go-tos when there was so many thousands of other people that contributed to this country that you don't hear about.
Yeah.
But those are the names that you hear about all the time. So if you don't know that, then, you should know that. So it's not a hoax. Rosa Parks was real. She's a real woman. And she died not too long ago. It wasn't like she was in the 1700s, 1800s. She just died, I think, in the 2000s, wow. 2002. Yeah, she was here. She was here. It's terrible. Just that short span of time don't even know. They want to take or remove all the history, so you have people like this that don't even believe it. You have people that don't believe stuff happened in real time. So, oh well. Anyway, thanks to the moderators. I saw you indoors. Thank you guys. And don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. This is not the story we wanted to do. We're back. We were away, praying.
Yeah.
Lifting up God, lifting up. I'm so happy about that. We came back refreshed and renewed, and just to do what's right. That's what's important to us, is to do what's right, and not to get suckered in by man, to stand on business, not to be beholden to any man, but be beholden to God. We answer to God. We don't answer to you. We answer to God. This channel is not about which party is better than the other, because I found out they both got issues. Both of them have issues. And it's a hard decision when you don't have quality people running for office that want to represent all the people.
Well, Vikings said when Rosa Parks passed away, he said October 4th, 2005.
Oh, it was 2005. Yeah, she's recent history.
Yeah.
She just passed away. Come on now. That's why they shouldn't remove any of the history out of, because it's people like that won't even, you can find, because they can't remove it all, because it's all over the place. Even not even in this country. You got people from other countries writing about the history of America. It's not just Americans. So there's movies everywhere. He's not gonna be able to remove every movie, every artifact. You can't erase, because we're living in a social media time. Maybe back in the day they could do it, but you can't do it now, no matter how hard he tries. And I never saw a president that came into office that wanted to remove the history of the people of this nation, whether it was bad or good. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah, I wanted to arrest children.
And want to arrest children and lock them up for crimes they haven't even committed. This is insanity that's going on, and we're calling it out. It's insanity. We were going along with everything until we got to the insanity part now. So we're not going to go along with it. So we finding issues in both parties. I just want a party. I know this is too much to ask. To stand for all Americans. That's it. I don't want Americans losing their health care. I'm not down with that. I'm not down with firing of federal workers at the rate that they have. That meant you increase unemployment. All these promises about jobs, they're not here.
Yeah,
They're not here
We
yet.
didn't anticipate this. And also, too, what's happening.
And then they talk about the chat going to take over in another 5 years. Then there's really not going to be any
And
jobs.
I also can't forget about what's happening to black women.
Yeah, 350,000 black women. Trump is attacking black women left and right. Left and right. He's attacking everyone, but he needs to carry himself as the president of all the people. And stop. He needs to stop. He needs to stop. Because the way that he got voted in, it wasn't just Republicans or MAGA. It had taken black people, Hispanics, Asians, indigenous, all ethnicities is why he's sitting in that White House, and he's forgotten that quickly. He wants to just be president of one segment of the people. And he feels as though that they were given a superiority according to the color of their skin, which is a lie from hell. God gave us all the same capabilities and all the same features. The only thing that God did different was the color of our skin, in which most of the world is brown. So we have to stop this insanity, because we're going to answer to God one day. And in heaven, there is no all white section. You're going to have down here your all white towns, your all white this and that. But that you're going to be shocked if you make it to heaven. If you get in, that is not about the color of your skin. It's about your, go ahead. It's about your character. It's about believing in Christ and being a Christian, what it means to walk in righteousness and to do what's right at all, even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when everyone is going against you, you still have to do what's right.
Yeah.
And then you guys can look it up if you want. This is just a fact that I researched recently, but that there's scholars that believe the Garden of Eden was either in Africa or Saudi Arabia. So from the start of time, we've been darker skin tone.
Yeah, well, that was birth. Everyone's birth was birthed out of a black woman,
Yeah.
brown woman. It was the beginning of civilization. You know, a lot of stuff they would hold, like, even the white race has only been around like the last 10,000 years. And, you know, everything's according to the sun.
And if you guys don't know, the Garden of Eden is where Adam and Eve lived at, the two first human beings.
But the truth is coming out, and you can't hide the truth. God is coming back. It's peace in the Middle East. God, like, if we're going to follow what it says in the Bible, it's 3.5 years of peace, and they're going to break the treaty. And that's going to, when I guess the rapture and stuff is going to take. But we're in the last days. God is not going to keep tolerating all that's going on in the world right now, all the deceit, all of everything going against the word of God. You know, he didn't tolerate it in Sodom and Gomorrah, all the homosexuality, all the lying, the steal, all of it. God is not, he's not going for all of this. And he's already shown us this over and over again. You know, with the flood, with Noah, he wiped the whole earth out. That's what the rainbow represents. They would never flood the earth again.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Then he did Sodom and Gomorrah when the people were in all their sinful natures and sinful. He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. He sent down brimstones, fire, brimstones. He destroyed them. And here we go again now. So anyway, you guys, God bless you. Pray, pray, pray. And I do have another channel, Pray Till All Here. And I got to work on that channel. It's like doing these lives and everything. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. But I have to work on that channel. I want to have a channel that people can go and pray, make prayer requests. Maybe like once a week we just pray for an hour. And we just uplift God. Y'all put in your prayer requests and things because everybody's going through something. None of us are exempt from going through. You know, you might not need Jesus now, but you're going to need him one day.
And also, guys, no matter what party you are, pray for the president that he has discernment on the decisions he's
Say
making.
that so they can see you.
And, you know, no matter what party you guys are, like, pray for the president that he has this discernment on the decisions that he's making.
It's like when you're not moving, I can't tell him. Okay, anyway, God bless. You know, whether you want to believe it or not, you're going to answer to God because he said every mouth should confess and every knee shall bow that Jesus Christ is Lord, and we're going to stand on that. That's the truth.
Find out too late, like when it's too late, out of time, you want to find out.
Look, don't want to find out because nobody wants to spend. You think that 60s old, 80s old, if you live to be 90, that you are a baby. You're going to live for trillions of years, whether it's in heaven or hell. And who wants to be in the lake of fire and be in darkness and have demons, you know, just ripping your flesh out? You can't even die. You're in darkness. You're going to be separated from everyone, separated from God. Who wants that? That's the worst fate ever. That's the worst horror movie you could ever even think of. That's forever. It's not worth it to be a non-believer. It's not worth it to have hate in your heart. It's not worth it. You don't believe? Guess what? We all going to stand before God one day, all of us, and give an account of all our thoughts, everything we said. You know, you could be in your heart as raised as you want to, but it's not going to get you through those pearly gates. So enjoy your time here on earth because it's short. It's like a vapor. It's real short. One day you young and next day you old. You like, damn, where did time go? So anyway, just pray, seek God, seek his face, pray for your children. You know, you got to pray for your children. You got to pray. It's important. And I had to tell myself because I was praying here and there. No, I found that I got to pray for my kids even harder than I've been praying for, because the enemy tries to attack your children.
And as well as
You gotta pray for your kids. They're exposed to everything now. Everything. You gotta pray for them. I was like, oh my God, some of the stuff we talk about on here, then come from now and get about, oh, you're going through that? Oh my God, that's what I be talking about. And you're what? you know, it's shocking. And the first time I say you roll up the sleeves, you start praying for them. Not fussing with people. You don't yell with people. You don't try to convict people. You pray for them. You pray for them. That's your power, is prayer. So anyway, you guys, stay blessed. I love you.
Stay blessed.
And join us again. Thank you, Jack Jack, for your
God bless.
donation. Thank you. I don't know if he's still on, but thank you, Jack Jack. And we love you guys. God bless. Bye-bye.
God bless.